Hi, I'm Guy from Reuben. I'm going to show you how to play a song called Stuck in My Throat. What I'll do is I'll start off playing from the beginning of the song up till the first chorus, and then I'll stop and break it up and go through that section and do the same with the chorus and so on after that. Okay, so Stuck in My Throat, here we go. What we do is start off with a count in on the hi-hat. I'll come back to you in a second after I've played up to the first chorus. There's quite a lot happening in Stuck in My Throat. The way Jamie wrote the song is that it's quite linear, it's always moving, there's lots of sections going on. Basically, we start off on the drums, pumping the hi-hat. That starts off the song, introduces the tempo. So basically, just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We do that about 4 times, and then what leads us into the song is actually a guitar cue. So when we play this live, it varies when the song starts. So the guitar will come in with the riff, and that's when I know that when the next round starts, I'll precede it with the fill, and then we go in. The fill, so after the counting on the hi-hat, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. That fill, if I break it down slowly, sounds like this. So basically snare to rack and then back to the snare again. So, which I think when sped up is. Okay, so the preceding counting, it would be 1, 2, 3. Okay, obviously you'd count 4, 5, 6 as well. I can't do that while I play it, but that's essentially what's going on. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, and then we're in. The song is basically based around a drum beat that I used to mess around with in sound checks at shows. Jamie then started jamming along with me and wrote a riff around it, and the rest of the song was written around that. So I was playing around with paradiddles, which is a rudiment, which if you break it down is on the hands is right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, which is a great rudiment. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. And there's variations of that rudiment, like the double paradiddle, which would be right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, left. And basically that's an exercise that builds up independence between the hand and coordination. There's lots of exercises you can get, like flams and roughs, and paradiddle is one of them. And each one is made up of a stick routine, which goes between the hands. So, for example, the paradiddle is a right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. So if I put it between 2 drums, so you can hear it easily, it's right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. So basically that's what a paradiddle is, just an exercise which is fantastic for building up independence. Instead of just playing right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left all the time with your hands, it kind of breaks that up. So basically the main drum beat in the song as I said before, it derives from the paradiddle, but it's not a paradiddle exactly. It's kind of, I've changed it slightly, mutated it, and it's become something else. So I'll play how it sounds normally. Okay. So if I break that down, it's okay, and when you put the feet with that, basically what's happening is I'm playing the bass drum at the same time I'm playing my right hand, which is playing on the crash, and I'm filling in any beats that I'm not playing on the right hand or right foot. I'm filling in with my left hand on the snare drum. So I'm always playing a beat. I don't think there's a moment where I'm not playing a beat. Okay, so if I try and break that down slowly, it would be. Okay, you can also play around and do whatever you're playing on your left hand with your left foot. So everything the right side of your body's doing can do the same, is playing unison, and also everything the left side of your body's doing is also playing in unison. So you could play the hi-hat at the same time. So basically I've shown you what the hand coordination is on that main riff in Stuck in My Throat, okay, which is based on a paradiddle. There's fills all over the track that there's quite a lot, and essentially you can play what you want. But what I do, I tend to do, because it's kind of a high energy track, I do a lot of fast fills on the toms and snare drum. So if I'm going into the first verse from that opening riff, I'll show you what I do. And that fill there is, okay, so sped up, okay, so I'm basically hitting the bass drum and rack tom together, just because it sounds more powerful, or you could do it floor tom. I'm basically playing the bass drum and the quarter notes all the way through that fill, and then I'm just basically playing a single stroke roll, which is made up of the sticking right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. But what I'm adding to that is just accents, which sounds like this basically. Okay? And I'm finishing on the crash cymbal with a foot. Okay, so it just sounds. Okay? Obviously, that crash is the first beat of the verse, and the verse sounds like this. I'll go from that preceding fill into the verse. Okay, so we're on to hi-hats at the beginning of the verse, and we're just going. This is what we're playing. I'll break it down slowly.
These wars of words are pointless. Nothing gets accomplished.
Intricate sounding fills throughout, and that's not really what the song's about. The song's obviously is about the general groove. So I'll obviously show the grooves as I go through. I'll play you my fills, but essentially what I would suggest is, if you don't want to do what I'm playing fill-wise, is either don't play fills and just play right to the end of the bar and then start the next section with a crash cymbal and foot. That's always a common thing to do. It's a good thing to do. A good way of marking a new section is always to finish the section, or to start a new section, sorry, with a crash and a foot. But I will, in most cases, precede it with the next section with a fill. Good thing with fills in general is to keep them simple, but you can give the effect that it's more complicated than it is by simply adding accents. And in most cases, I don't break things down too much in my head when I play them. I let it kind of flow out of me pretty naturally and do what feels right rather than what technically should be there. So like the fill going into that verse, which is basically essentially, I'm kind of going, and I'm making kind of accents, kind of key moments. I don't know, it just kind of gives a good energy. So it is basically just a single roll. So that's all it is. And then obviously you can change the accenting of it and the feel of it. Okay. Okay. It's always important to play everything with conviction. So if you're not comfortable with something, don't play it, unless you're comfortable. And with drums in general, drums sound best when they're played loud, when they're played real hard. So just kind of give a lot of attack all the time. Obviously it depends what you're playing, but in my case, in Reuben, we're a very kind of solid rock band, so I'm pretty much hitting everything as hard as I can, just because it sounds best, it gives the energy. Anyway, back to the verse. So I've shown you the first part, which is, okay, that stop there, you don't have to play that, you could just play it through it, so you could go, okay, you could just play that through, but I'll play you what I play on that section. So what I'm doing there is, on the first section I did the stop, I did the flam, which is essentially hitting the drum at the same time with both hands, but one's trailing slightly behind the other. So it instead of that, which is together, it's slightly behind. Okay, so I'm doing that, a flam. And the reason I'm doing that is it's basically tracing what Jamie's playing on the guitar. We're all, in fact, John, Jamie and myself all play that together. They'll play a mute section on the guitar with that, so we all go, as you'll hear in the song. And then it goes back into the... Okay, and that's just this, if I break it down. And then we're back into the riff again. This is still essentially the verse. The verse is made up of a few different sections. So the next section is back to the main riff, which I've shown you already. And this is the second part of the verse, which sounds like this. It's essentially what's happening in the first section of the verse, but we always like to change things. So I'm doing a tom beat, which is basically sounds like this. Okay. So I'll play the second part of the verse again for you. Try and play along with me. I'll count you in, but don't worry too much. You can essentially get through that part by playing the beat on the hi-hat, snare and bass drum, as I showed you before, which was... Okay, but I'll play what I'm doing, so I'll count you in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the second fill, I've already shown you the first one, which was... So the second fill is this, which slowed down is... and leave it slower. So after that second fill, we go back to the main riff, and then we go into essentially a tag section, which precedes the chorus. So that all together will sound like this. Okay, so I fluffed a lot of things there. You'll find I do that a lot. But essentially, that's how it goes. And after that fill, and we've gone into the main riff, we're we've got this tag section that I was talking about before the chorus, which again is basically an extension of the fill, the first fill I showed you just before, which is this. Okay, and we played that a few times like this. Okay, and then we crash on the china and the snare drum, although you can do it on any crash if you want, but I do on the china, and do a build up on the floor tom and the snare drum together. Okay, so after those two fills, I'll play those again for you and go into this section. Okay, so breaking that tag section down, start off with this fill. And once more. After that section, we play this. Okay, and then we do it again. Third turnover, if you like to call it that. So we've done one and two. Third would be, and fourth section. Okay, so together sounds like this. This is where the first chorus is introduced. And the chorus beat is basically this. Okay, and it repeats again. Fills, I would do a fill where I did just then, which I think is after 4 turnovers. But you don't have to do that, you can play through. Anyway, so that repeats again. If I break that down, it sounds like this. And what I'm doing is basically accenting every snare with a crash, okay? Okay, I'm also accenting the first foot of each bar with a crash as well. That's what I forgot to mention. Okay, basically we got. Okay, so that's basically the chorus. I put a couple of fills in there, but don't really need to worry about that.
And I thought I saw you stray, but I love you anyway.
Okay, so moving on after the chorus, we go back into the main Stuck in My Throat riff, okay, which is the down, down, da, 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 down, down, da, da, which I've already shown you already. So essentially just play that again, okay, which is basically just a reminder is okay, which is that beat based on the paradiddle, okay, and then we're back into the second verse, which is very much like the first verse, but it's kind of a variation on the drum beat. So it's kind of more kind of closed hi-hats, and it's kind of on the right cymbal as well. I'll play how that goes. Okay, so that's basically the first section of the second verse. First bit is. So I'm opening the hi-hat up there. You might have noticed that. You don't have to do that. You could just keep it closed, but it kind of complements what Jamie's playing on the guitar. And then on the verses, you might have noticed basically we've got this play between kind of this section here that I just played you, and the paradiddle kind of drum beat, which features not only as the main riff of the song, but in the verses, breaking the verses up. So this time, whereas before in the first verse I was playing on the crash, this time I'll be playing it on the ride cymbal, but it's the same beat. Okay, so that basically sounds like this. Okay, so those two bits together. So that's the first section. Second half of the second verse basically involves rolling on the snare. I'll try and play how it goes, going from that previous section, okay? I'll try and do my best to break it down for you, although it's kind of hard doing the rolls slower speed, but I'll try. So it will sound like this, and what you might notice is that I'm pumping the hi-hat on all 6 beats of the bar. 6 beats of the bar because it's in 6/8. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, admittedly it's a bit harder to play when you slow it down, but when it's at full speed, you'll find it's just a nice section to have. It's a nice kind of alternative to what I've been playing before in the verses. So anyway, that concludes the second verse. Okay, we're now into a middle 8 section, which basically sounds like this. Essentially all we're doing is playing a bass drum beat on every beat of the bar. So it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, first section obviously starts off just crashing both cymbals on those beats. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we move just to one cymbal so we can free up this hand to go into the snare drum. The essential drum beat for this section is this. And I just break it up with a lot of fills that are basically fast single stroke rolls, okay? And you see I'm going around the kit. If I just break that down, it's all single stroke rolls. I'm not changing the sticking at all. So when I'm going onto the hi-hat and the crash, it's all part of the roll, and it sounds like this. So. And you can just play with any fills. I mean, they're just the ones I choose to play. That section finishes up like this. If I break it down. At the moment we're into a breakdown section. It's just guitar and vocal, and the drums are reintroduced with a build-up which sounds like this. So that's slowed down, sounds like this. The fast fill there you hear, which is the when you break it down, is basically snare, rat, foot. So then floor, rack, foot. Okay. So from the beginning. And then we do another one on there, on the floor tom and the rack tom. Okay, so which sounds sped up. Okay, sounds pretty cool. So that's that feel for you. And obviously we end that section with the stabs with the guitar and the bass guitar, which is bam 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 bam, which is just basically snare drum and hi-hat together. Okay, just 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all it is. Open the hi-hats, crack the snare, make it as loud as possible. You can play foot with it as well. And then cut it. You've got to cut it there. Okay, so after that section, we come back in when Jamie says, "I thought I heard you say," and we basically crack the cymbals on heard and say. So it'll, from the bit before, it would go. Okay, and we're back into the chorus beat, which I taught you before.
And I thought I saw you stray.
There's also a triplet section in there, triplet kind of fill. Let me just play that section for you and you'll see what I mean, and I'll break that down for you in a second. So. So obviously when you listen to the song, you'll notice that triplet section, we all play that together. All it is I'm just choosing what symbol to go between, so I'm changing my sticking as a result of that. So it looks like it may be more complicated than it actually is. So I'm just going. Okay, so that's that triplet section, and then it returns to the beat as it is. And then we're on the last kind of section of the song, which is basically an extended chorus. And we're starting off the first section, which is basically the drum beat that's in the first chorus, okay, which is. The second section of this extended chorus goes on to the crash cymbal, and essentially the beat is this. Okay, fill at the end sounds like this. Okay, you can play whatever you want, but I mean, that just sounds quite good. So going from the beat, headset. Okay, concluding section of the song is this. Very simple. Flam, foot, foot, and with the feet you're playing either two cymbals or one cymbal in the hi-hat, and it's this, so it's. Okay, and right at the end of that section, you'll just finish off with a fill. So, okay, that's what I would play, and that's basically stuck in my throat. Have a listen through to it. Don't worry about all the fills in it. You can essentially get through every section playing the basic beats that I've taught you. There are quite a lot of intricacies within the song, but don't let that really put you off. Have fun with it, essentially. Okay, thanks a lot.
always so sorry.